Okay, imagine sitting in a room filled with people just your age. Some your friends, some your classmates, and to you at that age, a million more you've never seen before. You're 5 years old and you've just entered a battlefield. Everyone's nervous, everyone's scared, and everyone is certainly uncertain of what's going to happen. Welcome to the musical chairs of education. This isn't like your average musical chairs where it gives you a sense of nostalgia and childhood. There's a kick. First, your parents spent more than 100,000 baht on your extra classes, so do well because this is a life or death situation. Second, remember everything you've learned and apply to the test because this will matter on the long run. And last, get into a well-known grade 1 school, and to do this, you must be one of the top scorers out of more than 200 participants. Congratulations, you've just been introduced to the real education system where students ages 5 to 6 years old need to basically fight for a seat in grade 1. I'm Yu, and good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be talking about competition and how it is normalized for all the wrong reasons. Competition is this lingering sense of human satisfaction that really never went away as the generations progress. I mean, it ages back from when the cavemen would compete to appeal to a mate, or even big things like war for resources. But should it really be normalized? Now, ever since I was a kid, it really never occurred to me that the world was like this. I mean, all I had to worry about daily was how my grades were, of course, and what I wanted to eat for dinner. But as I grew up, things really seemed to change, and not even for the better. I started to notice that students would constantly get pushed down and insulted in ways that really bothered me. We all know what GPA is, right? I mean, we all know what GPA is, right? It stands for grade point average, and in simple terms, it just represents how students are doing academically. Now, we all know how money is a symbol of status in our human society. I mean, if you pull out a front row ticket to Coachella, then people are going to assume you're rich because it requires a lot of money. Now, in school, grades are your status. Now, that is me every exam, by the way, but aside from the point, that's not the point. If your grades aren't as high as others, then apparently you don't look as intelligent. Personally, just because you don't excel in a subject like math or science, it does not mean you are absolutely incapable of doing anything others can. Now, why does this happen? Competition can serve as this natural adrenaline. It pushes people to improve and pushes people to do something better because they can't stand the fact that they're not as good as someone else, or they just want to be better than someone else. A research by Kahn in 1992 from the book No Contest, The Case Against Competition has shown that competition can generate considerable stress, accelerate hostility and prejudice towards one's opponent. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. I always see other students being viewed as incapable or untrustworthy purely based on the numbers in our grading website. Prejudice in simple terms just mean unreasonable opinion or an unfair treatment towards someone. And when it comes to group works or like teamwork, if your grades aren't as high as others, then people can actually assume that you're not as intelligent or you're not as trustworthy or even dependable in the group work. I see some people when we're doing spin the wheel on group works, and when you land on someone with a grade lower than 3.5, you can start seeing faces that don't really appeal. Now, I must acknowledge that competition is super effective, and it is a lever for motivation and improvement. Without competition, why would we have the things we have today? Without competition, why would anyone want to improve? Without competition, why would anyone want to push themselves? Without competition, how would we have the things we have right now? It is good, but it really stops serving that effective mechanism when it becomes too much. We always have to remember that every light has its shadows. Now, another great example is comparison between family members and friends. I mean, most of us are all most of us are Asians here, so I'm sure you can relate. Most Asian households, especially back in the day, would use comparison to motivate their children into doing better or to improve just so maybe they can beat another relative. But is it actually right? Let's play a little game. Raise your hand if you've ever experienced comparison by skills or academics. Okay. Next, raise your hand if you've ever seen others getting compared by skills or academics. Okay. And finally, raise up your hand if you think comparison and competition is toxic and unhealthy when it comes to academics and skills. Okay, look around. At this point, we should see the problem. It is so funny to me because my whole life, my parents have always taught me that students are good at different things. Some in sports, some in art, and some in math. How could people even like math? Okay, sometimes I ask people if they like math. If they say they do, I just say they're lying because math is absolutely unlikable. Now, I'm in grade 9 right now, and I'm also in the AP class, which stands for Advanced Placement. And another title for the AP class is the Nerd class. Now, I was on this field trip for the business club one time, and it was really fun, and I got to talk to a few people whom I've never really talked to because we're in different classes, and we also stay in different floors, so that kind of loses connection. But it was really fun hanging out with them until one conversation really stood out to me. I was talking to these two girls, and one of them said that I will never get into the AP class because I'm not as smart as the others, and the AP class is filled with smart people. Now, I didn't say anything, but it really made me question something. Do other students actually feel like they're not good enough purely based on their grades? I mean, most of the time when you measure intelligence, you just go by academics without actually considering other things people might be good at. And it really bothered me that she had to say that, but I didn't say anything because I get it, you don't have to have a certain GPA point to join these AP classes, but then most of the people in the AP class are more excelling academically. So it becomes this public image that the AP class contains the majority of the excelling students, which turns out as a class that's smarter than the others. So I get why some students might feel like they're not fit to join these classes because they won't keep up compared to the others. Now, another thing that really bothers me is college applications, and it is so normal to the point where no one actually thinks if it's healthy or if it's actually good. You come into this world for one main reason, which is to build a stable life for yourself. And to do that, you must get good grades, you should get into a good school, and you must get into a good university, and then get a good paying job. That's pretty much it. Now, I would like to show you or explain to you an example scenario that came from a plot called Never Have I Ever. Really good show on Netflix, you guys should check it out. It was about this girl that is top of her classes, she's in a ton of clubs, and everyone just tells her that she's a star student. Her future's bright, everything's good, and it's time to apply for college. She only applied to the Ivy Leagues and no safety schools at all. By the way, safety schools are just colleges with really high acceptance rate, so just keep that in mind. No safety schools, only Ivies, and on the day of the review, she got into no Ivies, rejected everywhere, and the only place that actually gave her this ray of hope is Princeton, and they waitlisted her. Now, based on the plot, her life is shattered, she can't look at anyone in the face, and basically, everything crumbled down. I mean, do we not see the point? College applications can really be toxic and really unhealthy to students without anyone ever thinking, is it right? It's just part of life, that's what they say. You just have to do well, and there, you're in a good university. Now, psychologist Alice Schlegel suggested that competition makes people constantly compare themselves and look to others for approval. This really stood out to me because we always love getting complimented. We love getting appreciated for the things we do, but how we get that appreciation is a whole nother story. It is so funny to me because, I feel like we should prioritize ourselves. We should always remember that whatever we do, it is for ourselves, and at the end of the day, our achievements is what matters to us. We should never change for anyone else or just try to do better to be better than someone else, but only do it for yourself. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, why are you talking about competition? I mean, you're just a student. You haven't even entered the workforce yet. So why are you speaking about competition? And to that, I say, as a student, I have seen things teachers and parents don't see every day. I have seen students being categorized, being sorted by intelligence, and I have seen students being defined as trustworthy, capable, or should I trust you with the group work? So this isn't just important to me. This is the type of topic or the type of concept that I see people talking about in day-to-day conversations during lunch without actually thinking if it's normal or healthy. Our society is so advanced, and yet we never really seem to care or think about the things that really got us here in the first place. And to me, that's competition. Competition is a big factor to actually improvement and actual progression, actually. But it also has its cons and benefits because, competition can always be lurking in the shadows, ready to take us at any moment without ever knowing when it becomes too much. So we should prioritize ourselves. We shouldn't always just care to be better than anyone else or just compare or compete to constantly try to find a place to fit in. After all, it is our story we need to write, and every chapter we write for ourselves is just another chapter in our life. There's always going to be this little voice in your head that says you can do it. And it's good to believe in yourself. Sometimes I scroll through TikTok and I would see people making Dubai chocolate and I would be like, I can make that, it's easy. But no, actually I can't make that. First, I can't find the ingredients. So yeah, but my point is, we should never let our egos control us into thinking that we're just better than anyone else. We should always just bring the best versions of ourselves out and what we should do to make the world a better place. Now, to sum it up, ladies and gentlemen, competition is what the world revolves around. Without competition, we wouldn't have a lot of the things we have today, good products or services, or even just a good experience or rankings or competing in class. Without competition, people wouldn't push themselves to do better. But when it becomes too much, it really stops serving that good purpose. So let us find this little happiness we have in this wreck of a world, because I promise you, it is never worth your time to be better than someone else. Then you can just be yourself. Thank you.